everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Well, so Republicans did it. Democrats filibustered Gorsuch's nomination. They grew a spine from somewhere. Alright, that's good. Mitch McConnell wasn't taking any shit off those Democrats and essentially turned around and stripped away the filibuster for Supreme Court nominees. Meaning that on Friday, they're going to have a vote for Gorsuch, a confirmation vote. It is going to be an up or down vote, meaning 51 votes wins it. Republicans have 52 people in the Senate. Unless somebody defects, Gorsuch is going to be put on the Supreme Court. Now, they keep calling this the nuclear option as something massive or major changed. I'm unaware of what's changed that massively. The moment that Donald Trump got elected, somebody like Gorsuch was going to be in that seat. A reality show host becomes president. Who is a reality show host going to put on the Supreme Court? Fuck knows. He puts a maniac. That kind of makes sense. Meaning it's not a leap of logic to know that somebody like Gorsuch was going to be the choice. Everybody knew it. Democrats knew it. In no way did that stop them from playing this guy up at all. Still played him up to the top, meaning this is the guy that you guys need to pay attention to. It didn't stop them from changing the way they ran. In fact, it emboldened them to run any way they want, remaining untethered to the crowd itself. Meaning Hillary didn't have to tell you anything about herself. She just had to tell you about him, because he was a fucking disaster. Inherent in that is them knowing that he was a fucking disaster. Am I making my point? Look, Republicans are going to do what they do. They're going to hurt people. That's what they do. Empathy is not their strong suit. Morality is not their strong suit. That stuff doesn't matter to them. They're going to hurt their public. Well, hell, they're going to hurt the people that voted for them. They're damn sure going to hurt the rest of the country. They're putting a maniac on the Supreme Court. A guy who thought it was fucking awesome for a company to let a man freeze to death in his truck. Thought torture was fucking great. Guantanamo Bay. He was backing up Bush in those torture policies. That's the maniac they're putting on the Supreme Court. They're holding the gun, yes. But who gave it to him? Who gave it to him? That's my point. Who gave it to him? Gorsuch is going to be on that Supreme Court for God knows how long. 20, 30 years. Who knows how long he's going to live? That's supposed to be Obama's spot. They were too weak to get their guy in that spot. Now, even if you want to say there was nothing Obama could do, maybe. Republicans got their guy through. That's what I can see. And I know that Harry Reid had the opportunity where he could have stripped that filibuster away early on. He didn't do it. He was scared. And I never understood, even in that moment when Harry Reid was hedging on using it, after Republicans consistently used the filibuster over and over and over and over again, he never stripped it away. And the logic of it sounded absurd to me. Harry Reid was using the filibuster in a way of saying, well, no, if I use this, if I take it away, if I do the nuclear option, then when I'm in the minority, I'm going to need that nuclear option. Never once thinking to himself, the common sense thing to think to themselves, these guys are screwing over procedurally the filibuster, meaning they're using it in a way that it's never intended to be used. They used it as just a run-of-the-mill course to get things done. That's never happened before. That bucks tradition. Tradition goes out the window. And Harry Reid is still thinking to himself, well, if I keep the filibuster now, they'll respect me enough to allow us to keep the filibuster later. So if we're in the minority, we'll be able to do the same filibustering they're doing to us. He expects the people who've been filibustering him more times than any time in history to allow him the same courtesy based on what? Based on what? I'm just saying Democratic strategy is fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Republican strategy could have been, well, we're going to be in a minority again, but no, their strategy was, our goal is to win. We're going to win, period. If they're going to try to stop Gorsuch, we're going to take it away from him. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. We're being paid to get this guy on the court. There is a difference in those strategies. One is assertive. One works. It's brutal. It's immoral. That's fine. But it's effective. They're doing what they're paid to do. The point I'm getting at is Democrats knew that. You gave them the gun. Whoever they hurt, whoever they shoot, you gave them the gun. You can make the case that they're loading it with bullets. That's fair enough. Whoever this maniac hurts, whatever rulings this guy puts on that injures people, you gave them the gun. That was on you. You had the chance to run a guy who the public wanted. You didn't care what the public wanted. It was her turn. I'm with her. That's what everybody kept saying. I'm with her. The socialist, the guy that you guys didn't like, that you marginalized, that you spit on, that you talked about and slandered, the guy you cheated, the guy you defrauded, that guy would have won. Now, what would have happened if he had a fair primary? What would have happened if you hadn't stripped away 15 million people from your party based upon the actions and the things that you were doing? What would happen if you actually stood for something? So when someone asks, hey, what does the Democratic Party stand for? You're not telling me about your goddamn being there when you were 9 years old. The point I'm getting at is, you guys have the strategy to win. You just don't do it. Which means that whatever else you guys are doing matters to you a hell of a lot more than doing the things that would represent your particular constituents, which is supposed to be the 99%. You knew this guy was a maniac. You played him up to be a maniac. And you lost. The point I'm getting at is this is your fault in many ways. You wanted to be disconnected from the public, meaning you didn't want to have to give the public anything. Understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying this. The way they ran that race, the way Democrats had been running those races was, that guy's a maniac. Now, if I have to give you a positive vision, that positive vision is going to entail me giving you something. It's politics. It's just the way it is. Yes, we're going to get health care. Yes, we're going to get some kind of education reform. Yes, I'm going to cut your taxes. Whatever it is. The president needs an agenda. He needs to give somebody a clear goal about what he wants to do and what he wants to accomplish and why he wants to accomplish it. Why do we need it? Don't just tell me what you're going to do. Why do we need it? Now, you can completely decapitate that process if your argument has nothing to do with you and it has something to do with the other person. That guy is a maniac. That guy's a maniac. That man is a maniac. And he's having sex with Vladimir Putin. If you can do this consistently, then it's not about you. You get in that office. You don't even need a mandate. You don't need a mission. You can do whatever you want to do in that office. You're free. That's how she ran her campaign. That's how the Democrats that backed her up ran her campaign. And at this point, again, if you ask Democrats, what do you stand for? They don't have an answer. They don't stand for anything that they can actually talk about. They have the gun. They have the bullets. But you damn sure gave it to him. Whatever he does is on your backs. Just know that. That's absolutely on your backs. This guy's going to hurt a lot of people. You can blame him, yes. He shares responsibility because he's sitting in that particular seat. He's making those rulings. You can blame Trump because, yes, Trump put him up. And Trump is going to do bad things. But I agree with Sanders on this. Trump didn't win the election. He lost it. There is a difference in those things. There is a sharp difference in those things. Meaning, however you want to blame him for the things that he's doing, ultimately, you allowed him to do those things. You allowed him to get elected. And you, keep it real, you allowed him to get elected because your donors, the people who were giving you money, mattered more to you than the constituents that you would have had to give a vocal message to for them to elect you. You thought you could skate without doing that process. You cannot skate on that process. Gorsuch is going to get nominated. Gorsuch is going to get in his Supreme Court seat. Here's what it is. Now, the catch becomes what happens when Republicans are out of power. That's the catch. That's what you look for. Because ultimately, they're going to be able to get their guy through regardless. And people kept making this argument about them doing, it was like they should have waited for the second one. Why? What were you going to get for the second one? This makes no sense to me. I don't understand why Democrats are taking this attitude of, well, we shouldn't use the filibuster on this one. We should use it the next time. So you should give him the first one? What stops them from taking the filibuster away from you the second time? The goal is to win. The goal is not to draw. And the goal is not to be cowardly when you're doing things. The goal is to represent your constituency vigorously. Yes, they were going to take the filibuster off because they were representing their constituency. The millionaires and billionaires putting money in their pockets. The same people who are putting money in your pockets. They're wrong, but it's your fault. Alright, guys.